Hello and welcome back to my channel. Here we are again. Today we are doing chapter 3.2 Market Research from IGCSE O-Levels syllabus. Right? So here we are. Today we are going to cover 3.2 Market Research, out of which we will be doing 3.2.1 the role of marketing research and the method used. Okay, fair enough. Now, the number one thing we need to understand when it comes to market research is what exactly is market research. Now, the meaning, as to say, is the action or activity of gathering information about customers' needs and preferences, right? So you can't be sitting at home and thinking, well, somebody might want to buy this or that, you know. You need to do market research, okay? It's not one or two people that you're interested in, all right? Your likes and dislikes might be different than other people. And this is what market research does. It finds out what people like and how to get it to them, right? So there are two types of researches, as it says, market-oriented business, right? Use of market research information to a business, right? So market-oriented business, and this is what we're doing. Number one, let me explain to you, even though the syllabus does not tell you, product-oriented businesses, right? What is a product-oriented business? Product-oriented business, such firms produce the products first and then try to find the market for it, right? Their concentration is on the product, its quality and price. Firms' production, electrical and digital goods such as refrigerators and computers are examples of such product-oriented businesses, right? So what they would do is first they will make the product and then find out if, you know, who wants them, right? Instead of do people want them or not, right? So they would just go like, make something and go like, who wants them now? Right? So that is product-oriented business. Number two is market-oriented businesses, right? But market-oriented businesses are such firms that will conduct market research and see what customers want and then produce goods and services to satisfy them, right? So a product-oriented business, you make a fridge or AC, everybody wants a fridge or AC, and then do research and find out which people actually want them, right? And market-oriented businesses are first you do research, find out what people need, and then try to satisfy them. So that is market-oriented business. That's point number one, market-oriented business, right? So how do you do this research thingy and how do you sort things out? And why is it important? Firms need to conduct market research in order to ensure that they are producing goods and services that they will sell successfully in the market and generate profit, right? It's all about profit. Everybody wants profit, and that's what we're looking for, right? So that's why we do market research. Okay, so the syllabus want me to explain you what is primary research and secondary research, and here we are. Primary research, the collection of original data, right? It has to be original. So it has to be for that specific product, for example, right? You can't just go like research about this, for example, and make this, right? If you made this and you start researching about this, there is no point. It's not original data. Original data is when you research about the product. Okay, so original collection of data, right? So you go out, you ask people, do you like this? You know, would you care to sample it and have a look and tell me if you like it or not, right? So that is primary market research, okay? The process of primary market research, as it says here, methods of primary research: establish the purpose of the market research, right? The purpose of primary research. Establish the purpose of market research. Decide on the most suitable market research method. Okay. Decide the size of the sample. Okay. How many people do you want to ask, or how many answers do you need in order to, you know, decide whether you want to sell it or not or whatever. Carry out the research. Obviously, you need to carry out the research, and then collate and analyze the data. Produce a report for the findings. So that is primary research. Okay. So let me tell you about sampling. Sampling is a subset of the population that is used to represent the entire group as a whole. So sample, or let's say a concentration sample type thing, right? What it does is, like, let's say it'll ask 500 people about a product, and then from their answers try to find a data that would satisfy the whole community or the whole nation, as to say. They can't interview every single person, can they? So they need to decide how big the sample size needs to be in order to how random so which random kind of people they want to ask, in order for that to represent the whole nation, or entire everybody, really. Okay, methods for primary research. Now we're jumping from the second point to the third point. Okay, then we'll come back to the second point, because the second point says primary research and secondary research. Okay, and obviously the third point says method of primary research. And now let me tell you about the method of primary research while we are here, so we can study the secondary research later on. Okay, so questionnaires. Okay, methods of primary research. Number one is questionnaires, right? That's probably how you can do it. Can be done face to face, through telephone, post, or the internet, right? Online surveys can also be conducted, whereas researchers will email the sample members to go onto a particular website and fill out a questionnaire, right? So you can do it online nowadays. You can fill out a form, and you'll have most of the questions, but you got to see which state of mind the person is, and what incentives is he getting, and why is he actually doing it. And face to face is just like you stop somebody on the road and you go like, can you please tell me about this, and can you tell me about that, and your name and age and stuff like that. Okay, so that is number one, questionnaire, right? The advantages: detailed information can be collected, right? A detailed information like name and age and what and whatnot. And customers' opinion about the product can be obtained on a questionnaire, obviously. Online surveys can be cheaper and easier. You don't need people to actually physically go out and collect them, so they can be cheaper, and can be linked to price draws and price websites to encourage people to fill out surveys. Obviously, who will spend his time out of his day to actually go out, go online, and then fill out a survey? You need to give them something in return, you see. Like, for example, I don't know, you're getting in a draw or something, right? So what are the disadvantages of the questionnaires? Okay, if questions are not clear or are misleading, then unreliable answers will be given. Okay, but they would be unreliable because the questions might be misleading, or maybe they didn't understand it nicely. Anyway, time consuming and expensive to carry out researches, collate and analyze them, right? So it can be expensive to analyze them. Okay, number second, we come to interviews. Okay, number second method of primary research is interview. Okay, that's what it says in the syllabus. Okay, so interview is will have a ready-made questions for the interviewee. Okay, and then they would just ask the interviewee some questions, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages to this kind of market research. Okay, advantages is interviewer is able to explain questions with the interviewee wouldn't understand. For example, if the person doesn't understand, the interviewer can actually explain it to him in clearer words, as to speak. And number second advantage can gather detailed responses and interpret body language, right? So for example, if you say, yeah, I would like it, right, then he would take not sure kind of thing, right? So he can interpret body language and write it down, as to speak. Okay, so maybe a person was uncomfortable on this question, so you can just write down uncomfortable in this question and stuff like that. So disadvantages, what are the disadvantages? The interviewer can lead and influence the interview to answer in a certain way. Okay, so the guy who's actually doing the interview can lead you to answer in a certain way, or maybe I don't know, if you're on the net and you're answering some questions, you might be really honest, right? And if you're interviewing it to somebody, if you're giving the answers to somebody, you might not be actually that honest, because you might just feel alienated, right? So you might not be honest in your answers, as to speak. Okay, time consuming and expensive to interview everybody in the sample, right? So that is one of the disadvantages of interviews, right? The next one, it says, is focus groups. Okay, now focus groups A group of people representing the target market agree to provide information about a particular product or general spending patterns over time. Okay, so these are like, let's say you collect people from different backgrounds and different parts of the country, of the city or something, and then you make them into a focus group and you ask them questions, and they represent almost the whole community, right? So advantages to this, they can provide detailed information about the customer's opinion, right? So one person, I don't know, one person might like hiking, the other person might like, I don't know, something else, maybe fixing cars or something, and then they could give detailed information about whatever question you ask them, right? So what are the disadvantages of focus groups? Okay, first of all, it's time consuming, it is expensive because you need to call everybody in and interview them. Okay, opinions can be influenced by others in the group, right? So if others answer in a certain way, the one person might just not raise his voice and might be influenced by them lot. Okay, and that is that. Okay, so online survey, questionnaires, postals, focus groups, we've done all this. Okay, now we come to the part I told you of the first one, called second market research. Okay, secondary market research, or it's, in other words, it's called the desk research. Okay, so what do? You kind of collect information on similar products, right? So for example, a survey was done for this, right? And then you are making this product, and then you kind of gather information about different surveys about the same category of products that you're making, and then you kind of find out how many people like it and how much is the demand and all, right? So a collection of information that has already been made available by others, second-hand data about customers and market, and collection from already published sources, right? So you might find data from different sources and you try to estimate how much people would like or dislike your product. So that being said, internal source information, right? There are two, obviously, sources where you can get this secondary market research. Number one, you can get it from internal sources, which is sales department, sales record, pricing data, customer records, and sales reports. Okay, so that's one. Okay, then opinion of distributors and public relation officers, right? You can ask them questions. Right, financial department on, you know, what's selling best, you know, and what are we getting maximum margin on and stuff. Okay, customer and services department, right? So that is internal sources, like from within the company. And then there are obviously external sources. Okay, what are external sources? External sources are government statistics, right? Which will have information about population and age structure in the economy, obviously, right? So if, for example, if you want to target kids and there are not enough kids around, then you might just want to think about something else maybe. Okay, second source of information, external sources, is newspaper. Okay, articles about economical conditions, forecasts, spending patterns and stuff like that. You'd find most of that in the newspaper. Trade associations, if there is a trade association for a particular industry, it would have several reports on the industry's market. Right, so you can ask the trade association. And then market research agencies, these agencies carry out market research on behalf of the companies and provide detailed reports. So maybe the market research agencies carried out a research on a similar product, okay, and then they'll give you second-hand data, or you don't have to actually conduct the research the second time, they just give you that data, and that is called secondary research data. And then obviously the best internal source nowadays, that's how you're watching me, internet. Okay, we will have a wide range of articles about companies, government statistics, newspapers, and blogs. Okay, so you can find all that on the internet. So internet is the best source anyway. Okay, so we're done with all that. Primary research, secondary research, methods of secondary research. We've done that, and that's about it. That's about it, I think. Okay, now we're talking about the last chapter. Okay, we've done market-oriented businesses, primary research and secondary research, method of primary research, and the need for sampling method of secondary research. And now we come to the last factor, which is factor influencing the accuracy of the market research data, right? So you need to identify exactly where, is the data even authentic, right? So it might be somebody sitting in his basement filling out forms, right? So you need to find data that is accurate, and what are the factors that influence the reliability and accuracy of market research. They depend on a large number of factors. Okay, how careful the samples were drawn up, its size, the type of people selected, etc., right? How questions were phrased in questionnaires and surveys. Okay, so the question might be too confusing, and then you just might get it wrong. The whole thing might just be wrong, really, or invalid, as to speak. Okay, who carried out the research? Secondary research is likely to be less reliable, since it was drawn by other for different purposes at an earlier time, right? So it's not current, it's an earlier time. Okay, number 4 could be bias. Okay, newspaper articles are often biased and may leave out critical information deliberately, okay, just to make their point, kind of thing, right? An age of information. Okay, research data shouldn't be outdated. Okay, customer trends, fashions, economical conditions, technology all move fast, and old data can be no use now. Okay, and how do you identify which data is too outdated? Well, it depends on your situation, doesn't it? So there we go. Not much we can do there. Okay. So that's all done. That was fast. Okay, presentation and the use of market research results. Okay, now market research results. Now I can't help you much there, because you need to draw charts and stuff, and I'll put some charts here just for you to have a look. And but obviously, till I have a situation, how can I actually explain you the chart and all? Okay, so as always, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for trying to understand. If you find these videos useful, leave me a comment. I will try to answer any questions if you have any. Okay, always try not to learn the chapters, try to understand them. If you have difficulty understanding any of the topics that I tell you or I teach you, that is, you can leave me a comment below. I will answer your questions. I actually haven't received a question yet. I'm already on 3.2. I haven't received any question yet, but I might do in the future. So try to leave me your questions. I will try to answer them. If I can't answer them or is unsatisfactory in my answer, I will make another video trying to explain it in detail. And this is your host, Mohsen Bukhari, signing off.